What's up, guys? We're here to talk about Jurassic World, and joining me on the YouTube channel for, it's been quite a while, is my co-host of the FANBOYS Unleashed podcast, the one and only Matt Els.
What's going on?
Going into this movie, we had a lot of doubts. Pretty much we ran down the film all throughout the year on the podcast. The more shit we saw from it, the more we didn't like about it. So now we've seen the film, and I think we have a completely different opinion of what we originally thought this movie was going to be. For those of you unfamiliar with the plot, this story takes place 20 years after the original events of the first Jurassic Park. Somehow or another, they've managed to open up this park. I don't know how. They don't even really explain how they opened up this park. But what you're getting now is a full vision of what the park, I guess, was supposed to eventually turn into. And that would be this monstrosity of an event. It's almost like a Disney World, but with live dinosaurs.
And which would be awesome.
Yeah. But to behold this park is quite breathtaking. When they show the swooping images of it and everything that they've incorporated now into it with the little baby Triceratops rides and things like that. But
yeah, and like the way they were able to recapture that magic that you got in the first one, the first time when it shows you like the Bronchiosaurus and Dr. Grant's like looking up at it, and it's that wow factor.
Yeah,
they really give you that wow factor with the construction of the park and the way everything was laid out. And
right, but in this world, people are pretty much tired of dinosaurs. They're looking at them like it's just a bear at the zoo. Nobody really gives a shit. So, in order to spike interest, they create their own dinosaur, and that doesn't turn out too well. And from there we have not so much an actual Jurassic Park film, but more really of a monster movie. Even though I guess it can be argued that the first one was a monster movie, but this is truly a monster movie in its purest form.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I would argue that the first one was a monster movie as well. I mean, it was a created monster, I mean, even though it lived fucking millions of years ago, but
yeah.
But this one still, I mean, definitely is a monster movie. And I happen to be a fan of monster movies, so.
Absolutely. As do I. But the problem with this movie is, first of all, the first 30 minutes of this movie are pretty fucking awful to watch. I didn't think a lot was going on. There was nothing really there that grabbed my interest. Unlike the first film, where it does take a while to build to conflicts with the dinosaurs, you're still enjoying the characters that they brought on screen and the interactions they have, even them sitting down talking. In this one, I didn't quite feel like that, and there were some characters that were just so cliche and so stereotyped that I didn't really dig them at all.
Yeah, and most of that being like 50% of the characters you're not supposed to like off the bat, so there's really, you have half the characters there, and you're only supposed to enjoy half of them.
The kids, I couldn't stand one bit, especially the older brother. I was waiting for him to get eaten, and it didn't happen, and I felt let down by that. Their aunt, played by Bryce Dallas Howard, who's basically the manager of this park, I didn't like her character in the beginning, but as the story went on, I actually ended up liking her in the end. But what I will say is, Chris Pratt impressed the hell out of me in this. He is by far the best part of this entire movie, and he knocked it out of the park. And I think this movie solidified him as definitely being the next big star in Hollywood.
Yeah, definitely. We got a glimpse of that in Guardians of the Galaxy, and
yes.
Going into Guardians, I wasn't exactly sure what we were going to get, and I was, more than pleased with the performance that Chris Pratt gave. And then going into this, it's like, well, it's not exactly Star-Lord, is he going to still have like that comedic tone that he brings with everything? And he did a little bit, but he was able to tone that back and give you some serious acting, and it was
absolutely.
Well done.
But I totally bought into the fact that he's a badass, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I never questioned that for a minute, but all the other characters surrounding just felt a little too cliche, a little too cartoony, especially the guy that played the Kingpin in Daredevil. He's in this, and he's your stereotypical military leader.
Yeah, wasn't a fan of him in the movie.
And like I said, it takes a while to grab my interest, but once things do begin to kick into play, it was pretty great from there. But another problem I have with this is it seems like they really went away from the practical effects and over CGI'd everything. And there was some CGI that looked great, it looked fantastic, and there was some CGI where I was like, okay, this looks fake, especially the pterodactyls.
Yeah, I was too wrapped up in other stuff enjoying the movie that, I mean, I didn't really notice too much of the pterodactyls. They didn't look great, you know, but it wasn't enough to take away from me.
I feel like, you know, you said you had that problem with Mad Max, like the 3D kind of took you out of it a little bit, and with the Avengers.
Well, with the Avengers, yes. Mad Max, I felt add to it.
With this movie, though, I felt like the 3D took me out of it. Like, I want to see this again without the 3D, because first of all, the 3D in this movie is fucking worthless. There's no point to even have it.
No.
But I felt like that took me out of the movie a little bit, and it was a damn shame because I wanted to see it in IMAX. We saw it in IMAX 3D, but
right.
Unfortunately,
the sound was fucking phenomenal, though.
Absolutely. I mean, I wouldn't sacrifice the visuals for the sound that we got because, for the most part, the visuals were good, but there were a few points where I thought it looked a bit spotty. Now, the strongest point of this film, besides Chris Pratt's character, by far, is the last 35 to 40 minutes of this movie. And the final conflict in this movie is fucking epic. It is something to behold, something to be seen, and you need to see this in the theater on an IMAX screen, because even though it was predictable how it was ultimately going to end, it was fantastic to watch.
Yeah, the biggest point of the movie for me when we sat down to watch it is in the opening credits, and you see the Legendary logo come up, and you're like, that's right. A part of this is the company that brought you 20 minutes of Bryan Cranston, the movie, Godzilla.
That's a good point.
You know, so as soon as I saw that, I was reminded of what I enjoyed from Godzilla, and that was recreated in this movie as well.
I couldn't agree more. Overall, though, I think we were pretty damn surprised how good this movie was. I definitely was. I thought it was going to be a complete shit bomb. So I like to give my guest, since you're a guest on this show, the first shot at the ratings. So what are you giving this film?
All right. Well, going into it, I didn't have very high expectations, and I feel like that kind of boosted my number a little higher than I probably would have given it.
Yeah.
But stepping back and being a little more realistic about it, I did enjoy the film. I basically loved everything about it. This is basically the best thing we've gotten about Jurassic Park since Jurassic Park. I won't say it's better than Jurassic Park. I gave the original a 10. I'm giving this one an 8.5.
Excellent. As for me, I did enjoy this film, but the first 30 minutes were hard for me to overlook. I didn't like the CGI on the pterodactyls. Some of the characters were annoying as fuck, and I wanted to see them die, and they didn't, and I was pretty disappointed about that. But overall, I like how in the end they handled the raptors. I thought they were going to neuter them, and they didn't. There were some good scenes with them.
Yeah.
The conflicts with the Indominus Rex are outstanding. The scope of the park is fantastic. It's magical. It's something to behold. So for me, I may be going a little bit generous on this, but I'm going to give it an 8. I enjoyed it.
Nice.
I'm sure everybody's going to shit down my throat because I gave it a higher score than Mad Max, but that's just... It's different films, you know?
Yeah.
Different films for me. That's all it is.
Different strokes for different folks.
Excellent. And I'm not a big fan of car chases, you know? I'm more of a fan of this kind of genre. So, anyhow, check out the description below. There's a link to our podcast, Fanboys Unleashed. We still talk a lot of movies, a lot of TV. We do other things on there now. For those of you that followed our old channel and came over and watched my solo reviews, Matt will be coming on for some different movies throughout the year. But definitely check out our podcast because it's pretty hilarious. And that's it. So what'd you guys think? Let me know below. Please comment. Please like the video. Hit the subscribe button. And as always, thank you for watching.